All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster. My name is Gaius Bowling. Yeah, I'm recovering from watching the Super Bowl yesterday. I'm sure my
Yeah,
brother feels the same way.
I know. Yeah. Good win for the LA Rams. And
Yeah,
it's always fun to be in the town and the city that winners are in. So Super Bowl's here. Everyone was having a good time. And I think that we all definitely, both of us, got to enjoy the fruits of that.
the festivities. There were too many beers and too many shots.
Lots of celebrating. It was fun. It was a good
Yeah,
game too.
yeah, the game
And
was really good. I'm glad that it wasn't like a blowout or anything like that. Everyone's anxiety was like on high for most of it. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, but there was
it
nothing
was
else to
good
really
though.
watch
I
this
think we
weekend,
had
huh?
yeah, I mean there was some golf on. There was like the Waste Management Tour, which was cool.
The Puppy Bowl.
But definitely
The Puppy Bowl.
yeah. Yeah, the Puppy Bowl, but definitely a lot of it was definitely a football filled weekend.
Yeah. I heard that Snoop Dogg actually did some of the Puppy Bowl with Martha Stewart and then did the halftime show. So he was around all weekend in the best way.
Yeah, man, I will say he's definitely not hard to find a job. He's definitely not looking for jobs very much. I mean,
Not at
he's
all.
always doing stuff, which I respect a lot about him.
Yeah, and I want to just say that the halftime show was 100 times better than the one from last year with the weekend. Like I'm a big weekend fan. I love his music, but that was just I remember being with Owen last year and we were just like at our friend's house watching it and it's like this is just not good.
You're
Like
like,
how is
this
he so
sucks.
good but it's so bad? But yeah, this was like
Yeah,
this was a
it
great
was funny.
celebration of like hip hop and like just like a really cool for like I guess my generation, not so much yours, but I mean it was so cool. You probably enjoyed it too. But like everyone was joking that
Yeah,
like
no, I really enjoyed it.
someone put on Facebook like I'm gonna start telling like people how old I am based on like I was the target demographic for the Super Bowl halftime show. So that's how they'll
Yeah,
know. I'm between the ages of
yeah.
35 and 40 something. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was just really good to see that. I don't know. I really enjoyed the fact that first time hip hop's been sort of the center of the Super Bowl, and especially with the demographic that typically watches the Super Bowl, and reaching such a wide range of people, and having some artists that everyone respects a whole lot and have been at the top of their game for such a long time, and having them come back. It sucked because I was making jokes with some of the friends that I was watching it with. It's like no matter what, I was gonna feel sad that it was over because they all got to play one song, but
yeah,
each of them have like 30 plus
so
amazing
many bangers,
songs that
right?
it's just
So
like
many.
you can't just pick. I mean, you have to pick one for them to all be a part of it, but
Yeah.
it was just really hard to not be like, I mean, it's a football game that's surrounding this awesome concert.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I was like, Eminem has to do loser stuff. I couldn't think of anything else that he could do that would be appropriate.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the
No, absolutely not.
I actually was wondering if like the NFL was worried at all, if their finger was on the button, just kind of like, just in case, because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
these people aren't necessarily suitable for like daytime like family TV, but I think it kind of
Mhm.
went off without a hitch, and everyone like performed respectfully, and it wasn't like there was no Janet Jackson moment or anything like that. So I do wonder if they were
Yeah.
worried, like if they were just like, I don't know, like please don't curse, please don't do
I mean,
this.
they still I think they actually did bleep out or at least silence the line where Dr. Dre says, and we still don't love the police, like we still don't
Oh
love
yeah,
the
yeah,
popo or something like that. They
right,
did
right,
silence that out because I noticed that I could see his lips moving, but he didn't say it.
right.
And so still ain't got no love for police or whatever that is, whatever that line is. And
Yeah,
so I know they
you know what? I
definitely
think Dr. Dre did say that there were minor changes that the NFL wanted and the network wanted, but it wasn't
Mhm.
enough for him to be like, oh, like this sucks. I don't want to do it. I mean, they were fine making like the changes that were necessary, I guess. Because it is it's a family event. So I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah, and then also probably telling Eminem he can't rap about killing people, eating people, and just like bodily harm. So I think
Like,
that was
they went through
probably a
his. I
good call
swear,
on
I
their
feel
part.
like they went through his track list. They were like, "You have one inspirational party. Get up, and get out there song. It's this one. You can only do this one." Like, no.
Hey,
Everyone. I also thought it was
he's
cool.
not a
Like
billion.
at the bar we were at, like the waves of like the applause kept growing with each person that came out. Like it was just like
Mhm.
everyone got more
Yeah.
and more hyped with each person that came out, and like ending it with
Hmm.
Eminem was like I thought was a great choice, especially with a song like that because everyone loves
Yeah.
Everyone loves Lose Yourself. And it was cool
Yeah.
seeing.
I mean, he may not be a billionaire, but he's got one more Oscar than any of us and
He
any of
does.
them.
He does, which is crazy. That like of all people, he
I
definitely
know
has an
he has.
Oscar.
I definitely think he deserved it for that, though. 8 Mile's still one of my all-time favorite
Right.
movies.
And I think it's
Just
so crazy too because he didn't go to the Oscars when he was nominated for it because he didn't think he was going to win. Like he was just like the Academy's not going to give me an Oscar. So I think it was like the Academy Awards 2 years ago, or maybe somewhere like close enough, somewhere in there. He actually came and performed it like because he didn't get to when he was nominated. Because he's older now in a better place. Like he was like, I should go like show up because they showed up for me by giving me the award. So it was kind of cool that he had that like kind of full circle moment with it. I mean, I prefer his Oscar win for a rap song over 3-6 Mafia's because 3-6 Mafia has an Oscar too. somehow.
That's crazy, man.
Somehow,
that doesn't make sense.
The universe, I don't understand. Whatever. I guess. Yeah. I mean, good for them. Well, yeah, there wasn't really much else.
So Juicy J, that's who has the Oscar then. Juicy J and
yeah, they performed this. They performed the song like there, and it was. And then they won.
What movie was that for?
Hustle and Flow.
Okay.
Like you can tell, like it's funny because we're gonna talk a little bit about the Oscars, but it's funny because like the Academy tries to do so many things sometimes to look cool, and I'm sure giving them the Oscar, they were like, oh, we'll look cool if we do this. They have their moments when they try.
3-6 Mafia, maybe, but for Eminem, I think for sure like that was just well deserved.
The Eminem one was like a legit. This is a good song. This is a well made song for a film. So like I fully support that one. I just like the 3-6 Mafia one. It's been years and I still scratch my head. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean,
it's what it is.
I mean, they got an Oscar, man, and then when they get their Oscar, they had a reality show at the time, and they were just kind of like doing all the wrong things with it. They like taped it to the hood of their car and like they're driving around places, and I was like, I'm sure the Academy then was like, what the hell did we do? Who do we give this to?
Disrespecting the award for sure.
Yeah, it was like, oh god, this is why you can't give people certain things, man. They don't know how to like appreciate it. Taping the Oscars.
Hey, they want it. They want it. They get to do whatever they want with it.
I guess if they want to throw it around like a football, they want to I guess, to each their own. But speaking of the Oscars, I am not going to necessarily talk about everything that got nominated, but I do want to present something to you because like the good thing about you on here is that like I work in media and then you're just a casual moviegoer. And then a lot of the things with the Oscars, like every year, it's always like, who has seen any of these movies that got nominated? Because they really don't pick popular films. And it's always a debate every year, right? So like, I think we mentioned before a few episodes ago that Sony did a whole 4-year consideration campaign for Spider-Man because they were like, oh, it's a shot, it got good reviews. It made a lot of money. Spider-Man only got one nomination this year, and it's for visual effects. I knew it wasn't going to get a Best Picture nomination, but some people thought it was. A lot of people, since the nominations have come out, though, have been like, the Oscars are very out of touch with what regular people want. And this isn't just like regular people saying, like Kevin Smith came out and said, like, how do you, out of those 10 slots, how do you not give a nod to Spider-Man? It was the most popular movie that came out last year. It made a lot of money. It's not like it's a bad film. It actually has a better Rotten Tomato score than like several of the movies that got nominated for Best Picture. And then Jimmy Kimmel said the same thing because he mentioned that The Power of the Dog got nominated for 12 Oscars, and he said that's the number of people who have actually seen it, which is not wrong, I guess. But if I gave you like a few of these, like if I threw a few of these names out there, like just be like, I've heard of it, I've never heard of it, or I've seen it, and like out of the whole 10.
For sure.
So like I know you saw Dune. So like Dune is like probably the most popular one that got nominated. Belfast. Coda.
Nope, never seen it. I only have heard of it like just because of that we've talked about it. I've never seen it. I've never even seen a trailer.
Let's see, Licorice Pizza.
I've seen a lot of commercials for it, still haven't made my way to go see it yet.
So I think I mentioned Belfast. It's a small movie though, like a lot of people still haven't seen it. It actually has, I think, 7 nominations, so it's the 3rd out of the 10. Don't Look Up.
Yeah, I thought it was
that's because that's easily accessible because it's on Netflix. The interesting thing about Don't Look Up though is that it's the only rotten movie of the nominees. It has a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
So Rotten Tomatoes posted a photo of all the movies with their scores, And then like everyone was like, Rotten Tomatoes is throwing subtle shade because like they were like, one of these things is not quite like the other because it doesn't have like it doesn't have glowing reviews.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot. I mean,
totally.
a lot
I
of
thought it was good though. I thought it was like
yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think a lot of people kind of didn't like it, or critics didn't like it because they think it's like too heavy-handed in his message. I actually didn't think it was that heavy-handed. You know, it is what it is. But
I mean, it's a satirical movie for the sake of being a satire. So it's like you have to kind of take it as face value for what it's going to be. And I mean, even with the commercials and the portrayal of the president and the chief of staff and everything like that, like even just the portrayal of that is so far-fetched, but also kind of realistic in the sense of that could be what happens in the future because it's all about image. And the whole point of the movie is to make a mockery of what a situation like that would be.
right.
And that there's only a few characters who are really kind of do you really not see the big deal? And so
Yep.
I think a lot of the critics took that as, oh, it's too heavy because this could like it hit close to home. And I think that was the point of the movie, but a lot of people didn't like that.
Exactly. I agree with that. I'm gonna throw another one at you. Have you heard of Drive My Car?
No.
It's from Japan. It has several nominations, and it is nominated for Best Picture. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these are just like, do you agree that they are out of touch, or is it just like, you know, if you want to win like a popular award, then like why don't you just like cater to like the MTV Movie Awards or something? Like the Oscars are made for like these like prestigious movies, or should they be more open to like nominating stuff that people have actually seen? Because they wonder every year why viewership is down. Like the Oscar ratings have gone down like every single year in the last few years, and a lot of that has to do with like people not knowing the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for sure that it's typically the ones that people are lobbying for.
Right.
So it's like if you want to win an award, you got to put the work in with the people that are going to host the awards, give the awards, and the people that and basically cater to what they think and what they agree with. And that,
right,
traditionally speaking, has been a lot of sort of old time and out of touch characteristics with movies, I think. And what it is now, and what I think now, is that there's such a influx of content that's out there that
right,
regardless of what gets chosen to be given an award, there's going to be some things that are going to get missed out and not given the recognition and the credit that they deserve, just because there's so many things out there that are so creative and so good. But small budget films are not going to get an Oscar nowadays. I mean, unless you're spending 90 to 150 million plus, you're not going to be really up there with the category of, oh, the cinematography wasn't that good, or even having the budget for an actor that's could get nominated for something. But I think a lot of it has to do with it's either too cliche or too edgy. And so I'm guessing Drive My Car in Japan, just from the name and kind of like hearing that it's been nominated for things, I'm guessing it's a super dark film about like a sticky situation and something that's either really hard to watch or just like about like classism and stuff. And so those kind of movies always do well with critics and stuff, whereas something like Don't Look Up, that has even just the nature of fun and has some comedic moments, is not even it'll get a nomination because of something, but I was actually surprised that it even got nominated. But
I mean, yeah, it's kind of been around like all award season too. I was surprised based on like the reviews that it was like that it made the list. But I mean, all award season, it seems like every award show has loved it enough to nominate it. And like that sometimes happens, you know, like there was a few years ago, like, well, not actually more than a few years ago, there was a movie called Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. It was about like 9/11, or like loosely kind of about 9/11. That movie didn't get good reviews at all, and it got nominated for Best Picture. This is when like they started upping the number of nominees you can have for Best Picture. It used to be just 5.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they call it the Dark Knight rule, because like after the Dark Knight didn't get nominated for Best Picture that year, everyone was like, how did it not? Because it was one of the best movies of the year. And then that's when the Academy was like, okay, we'll do 10. And then stuff like The Blind Side sneaks in. Like, right? So I'm not saying that The Blind Side is bad, but like, is it one of the best movies of that year that it came out? Like, maybe not. It's more of like a crowd pleasing movie than like an Oscar movie. But like that's what happens when you have like the 10 slots, because it, it gives you a chance to nominate something that's quote unquote popular. They did it with Black Panther. The argument with Black Panther, they were like, well, they've nominated that, but why not Spider-Man? But I think Black Panther was also like there's like a cultural movement behind it. I think that had a lot to do with like why he got recognized with a Best Picture nomination. But yeah, I think if they want more people to watch it, then they have to. I mean, they don't have to, right? Because you want to nominate the stuff that's the best. But like, you can't complain that no one's watching it if you're selecting movies that no one has seen. Like you have to go.
What I'm interested to think about is for, especially with like this the Marvel stuff, is it kind of makes me think about like when Return of the King for Lord of the Rings won whatever it was, like 20 Oscars that won like the last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, because they didn't really get nominated or even like kind of seen in the first two. And then the last one was just kind of like, all right, you were right. These are good movies and people like them. And so they kind of gave them the credit they deserved. But I think since Marvel has such an extensive plan for how many movies are coming out, there's not really like I guess Endgame was like a wrap-up story, but there's not really like a point in time where they could say, all right, here's the credit you deserve.
Right, exactly.
And so like there's not really like a finite sort of end to this universe that they can say, all right, congrats, well done, you've made a lot of money, here's your awards for script, cinematography, special effects. Like I think Spider-Man will win special effects because not only does it deserve it, but also like that's their way of saying, all right, here's something that we'll just
here's your Oscar.
Yeah, here's your Oscar. And now shut up and watch.
Now, all you fanboys, like, be quiet. Yeah, I mean that I agree. I mean, I think like actually I want to read what Seth Rogen actually had a really good quote about this, because they asked him about the Oscars, and I think what he said kind of hit the nail on the head about why the general public just doesn't watch them much anymore. And he just said, I don't get why movie people care so much if other people care about what awards we give ourselves. To me, maybe people just don't care. I don't care who wins the automobile awards. No other industry expects everyone to care about what awards they shower upon themselves. Which is true. I guess, like, it's like, there is an air of like narcissism to it, right? So watch a bunch of like famous rich people be like, oh, here's your award for all that good work you did. But he has a point. I mean, why would regular people care about it? Like, I mean, unless you're like, and if you are there's some regular movie goer.
A bunch of people who make.
Yeah.
But the reason that people think it's important is because like this is what the people who make movies think is a good movie. And like that's what's annoying, is because like
and they're telling you what is this.
Yeah, it's like, this is good, so I promise you. It's like, well, I didn't like it, so like, it's kind of hard to. It's like there's not really any. It's such a gray area, because if you disagree, they're like, well, fuck you. I'm a famous director and I've made a lot of good movies, so my opinion does matter. But then if you say, oh, it is a good movie, then they're like, yeah, I know. So it's like
there's this arrogance behind it a little bit. Like if you were to go, like I always have this problem like in film school, because I like the Oscars, like I'm a movie person, but sometimes I don't like stuff that like they call like Oscar bait, where you can tell like oh, this movie was made to like just woo Academy voters. And like there are some like movie snobs that are like, the shit that gets nominated is their stuff. Like they are like, this is what good filmmaking is. And then they kind of like make you feel stupid when you're like, oh, I didn't really like it, or I didn't see it. They're like, oh, why didn't you see it? Like, well, not even playing near me. Like, well, if you want to see like a good movie, like you'll seek it out. Like that kind of like attitude.
Yeah. The ones that I find hard, that after when I finally do watch them, they're good movies, but they're hard to watch. It's the ones that are like 12 Years a Slave, or certain ones like that, where it's like
the subject matter is heavy.
The subject matter is heavy, and it's about a time in our history that everyone learns about. And so it's like, yeah, we have a terrible past, but it's like, why do you really need to put that? Like it's that movie, to me, it's incredible acting. I love the main character, the main actor, he's such a great actor.
Yeah.
But like, what is the need to create a film like that to make people uncomfortable? And
yeah, you're right.
Like, I don't know how this is a really messed up time, but it really is to me. When I see a movie like that come out, it's like, oh, you're just begging for the Oscar.
Yeah, I know people, even though I love this movie, I know people felt the same way like when Crash came out and it won, because the subject matter is like super heavy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, there are certain movies that are made like you can just tell like it's in their DNA. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
this is we won Oscars. We just really
Yeah.
won Oscars. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised by certain things that warning like so Lady Gaga was like nominated all award season for Best Actress at other award shows, but they didn't nominate her here.
No.
I think like Penelope Cruz got nominated for a movie called Parallel Mothers, which again another movie that people haven't really heard of or seen.
No. Yeah.
But I'm guessing she took her slot because that was the only person on that list that I hadn't seen previously on other lists.
Yeah.
Of course, her fans were like pissed. They were like all over the internet, and it wasn't like they were just saying like, "Oh, she should have been nominated." They started trashing the other women who were like
Oh god.
nominated. Of course, you can't just
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, I wish she got nominated." You have to like
No,
tear the other women down.
it's yeah, it's not they love Lady Gaga, it's they hate everyone else.
Yeah. And the thing is too, I mean, like Lady Gaga campaigned her ass off for it. I mean, we talked about like how people campaign for awards, and I'm not saying that she wasn't good in it. I actually think that she's the one bright spot in a movie that's like a little mixed. Um, but I guess you know it just shows you that every time like if you campaign for it, you don't necessarily get it all the time.
Yeah.
Like you know, like and she definitely put in like a ton of work. She was still promoting the movie when it was clearly not in theaters anymore. Like it wasn't even making any more money, and she was still like promoting it to like you know
I
get
think
in
that was
there.
good because I think she was proud of what she did for
I think
sure.
so too. I think yeah, I think it
So
was more about that than like her being like stuck up and wanting the Oscar. I think
I
like
think
she
it was
just
a little bit of both. A little bit of
yeah,
both.
maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of both. I think
But
she just
I
proud of
think
the
she was
movie.
more just proud of her performance, which I think she is well deserved. I commend her for that. So
Yeah, I'm just glad they didn't nominate Jared Leto. I was like, please don't ruin my
he got a
mark.
Razzie. Didn't
He
he
got
get
a
a Razzie
Razzie the
nomination?
Razzie
Yeah.
nomination the day before. Yeah, I was like, that makes more sense.
Good. Yeah, I'm
uh,
glad that he got nominated for that because his performance is atrocious.
yeah, and then one other snub. I mean, I know like we talked about Dune. I was surprised they didn't nominate the director. I mean, like you have a movie that most people have said is like on like a book that's like unfilmable. Like they say you can't really make a movie out of that book. And like
Mm-hmm.
however you might have felt about like little things in it, I still think that he created a visually like stunning like masterpiece. And I think it's weird to have it be nominated for Best Picture and then not give him any credit for directing
Best
it because he
director.
and he got a ton of other like technical nominations, but he's the one that's like steering that ship.
Yeah.
So like I just thought it was crazy that he didn't get a nomination. Like
Yeah, I think that's tough. I think that's them kind of like what we were saying, where it's like, hey, here's your nomination. You're probably not going to win, but congrats on making a good thing for nerds.
yeah, and I honestly think they're trying to please nerds too by being like, oh
Yeah.
look, it got nominated for Best Picture. It's not gonna win.
Yeah, we respect it. We
But
respect
like
it,
we
but
respect
that's
it,
it.
and we're gonna give you're gonna win a bunch of Oscars and you're gonna win all that like technical award stuff. Like we'll give you
Yeah.
that. And I
Mhm.
think that is their way of being like, hey, we gave your like sci-fi nerd movie
Yeah.
an Oscar.
Now get out. Now go
Scat.
ahead. And
Like go away.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, I mean, like, of course, I have to watch the Oscars for work, and like, I will be watching it. But like, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I know that today they announced they're having 3 hosts, and it's Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. So they picked all women. Yeah, they picked all women, and like, you know, that was probably like a calculated reason on ABC and the Academy's part. But I can only really speak on. I don't mind Amy Schumer. I know you just said that, like you don't like her.
I don't like Amy Schumer.
I don't mind her, and I think Wanda Sykes has her moment. She can be funny, and I like Regina Hall. She's funny. Just like I feel like 3 is like they're just grasping at straws, just trying to like get people to watch. And I think they're going to be a different host for each hour. So
Okay.
like, but I
3
think
hours long. Oh
yeah,
God.
yeah, and that's another reason why a lot of people don't watch the Oscars because it is longer than Titanic. So
Yeah.
like it's way too long, and it's not even like the fun award show. Like the Golden Globes, at least they're like sitting at like banquet tables and they're drinking and like they get drunk and like gradually when they're on stage you can tell that they're pretty drunk. So at least that's
Yeah.
fun.
It's
But
a
the
little bit of a
Oscars,
roast and
yeah,
stuff
the
like
Oscars
that.
are like stuffy. They're like you just like don't get to do anything fun.
Yeah.
So like yeah, that's another reason why a lot of people don't watch it anymore because it's 3 fucking hours.
Yeah.
That's
And the
ridiculous.
people that are there don't like being there.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and then it'll be funny. I don't know what's going to win Best Picture, but I have a feeling it won't be anything that's too popular, and then a bunch of regular people are going to be like, "Oh, I never saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is."
At this point, like it's gotten to the point of social media and like online interaction that regardless of who wins, there's always going to be a huge backlash, and then everyone's going to go see it. That's the thing. Is there's going to be a thing on Netflix and Hulu of this is what the Academy Award nominated, and everyone's going to start watching those pictures. So it's like no matter what, people are going to start watching those things, regardless of whether or not they think they're good movies, and so they're going to get a lot more views and tickets sold because of these awards that are thrown out there.
Right. Well, and more fun news, at least for me as a horror fan, they officially greenlit Scream 6. So I don't know if we're supposed to call it Scream 6 because they didn't call the last one Scream 5 because they wanted us to pretend like it wasn't the fifth one.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to call this one, like Scream Again or Screams. Or like they could do like a funny thing with like the S and make it a 6 or something.
Yeah. Something.
But it makes sense because, you know, it is one of the better reviewed movies of the franchise. It has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's very fresh. It only costs $24 million to make and has made 128.4 million worldwide. So
nice.
There's a reason that we're getting it. I'm surprised that they're going to start so soon. They're going to start filming this summer.
Yeah.
Which I guess means that they have like, maybe they already had an idea of what they wanted to do.
I think that they probably had something in the works already. They were just waiting for the okay.
Yeah. And of course, when they announce a new Scream, every single time, they don't really care about like the newer people. They all want to know, like, is Neve Campbell coming back? Is Courtney Cox coming back?
Of course.
Courtney Cox has said that if the script was good, she's always down to come back. Neve Campbell was basically like say the same thing. If it made sense and the writing was good, she would. I mean, I guess they had a lot of faith in the guys who made this last one because I think all three of the legacy characters. And spoiler alert, one of them did not make it to the end. Sorry, guys. Poor David Arquette did not make it to the end, but you know, they all, when they agreed to do the last one, they were all kind of like, okay, like how do we do this without Wes Craven? Because he did the first four and he passed away after like maybe a year or two after doing the fourth one. So I think they were all kind of like, oh, like, do we really want to do this without Wes Craven? And you know, these guys, to their credit, sent personal messages to all of the legacy actors and characters for this, and basically pitched them on like the reason we make movies is because of Wes Craven. The reason like we got into this genre is because we love Scream, and like they pitched them on like what the idea was, and that's what made all three of them come back because they were like, okay, I feel like it's in good hands with these guys. And that whole creative team is coming back. They didn't announce who for sure from the cast is coming back. And of course, social media only cares about Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox.
That's it.
But you know, I know you didn't see it, but a lot of people have been like, well, is it time to kind of retire those two characters and just focus on the new people? Because they actually have a good set of new people that survived and they were really good in the movie. You kind of carry it on with them. Or is it just necessary if you're a Scream fan that you need Neve Campbell and you need Courtney Cox?
I mean, at a certain point, they've got to retire. So they no matter what, the legacy is always going to be hard to pass on to the next generation, and we've seen that from all of these startups. I mean, we even could say the same thing about Jackass with those new characters coming on. Like, is it still Jackass? Is it even the same thing?
Right.
But no matter what, I mean, the franchise is successful as long as they continue to keep the story and the writing good and keep the same feel for that franchise. Then regardless of who's going to be in there, it's going to be successful, I think. And I mean, the last thing you want is to kind of smear the name of it by creating something that everyone hates and everyone doesn't like, because that in turn will not make money, and then they're going to have to stop it regardless. So it's like, I think I'm always up for the end on a good note. And so,
and then this last one was it. I mean, I think this one got the fandom back a little bit. I mean, Scream 4 has like a mixed reaction from a lot of people. For the most part, I think everyone enjoyed this. I mean, they liked that, like, there were cool new characters, and like you brought some of the older characters back. They didn't feel like they were like forced into it. Like it was like they didn't feel like shoehorned in, basically. You know, I don't want to say Paramount got lucky. I mean, I think they knew what they had. Paramount knew how to promote it. And I think the years between like Scream 4 and this one, there was enough time that had gone by where people were kind of hungry for it. They were like, okay, I can accept another one. And
Mhm.
like it's silly, but like I think calling it Scream and not Scream 5, that does help too. Because
Yeah.
horror movies, when you start throwing the numbers at the end of them,
Everyone's
everyone's like,
like,
oh,
oh,
another one.
another
Like you
one.
can trick people in the marketing being like, oh, is this like a fresh take? Is it like a reboot? What is it? And
Yeah.
then it gets viewed as like it's like starting
Its
over,
own thing. Yeah.
its own thing. They did that with like Halloween, with like Halloween 2018. They're like, all right, we're just gonna disregard all those sequels and just
This is
start
just
over.
Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah. My only thing about Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, if they want to come back, I don't. Okay, I don't want to see, just as a fan, I don't want to see Sydney die. I don't want to see Gail Weathers die. But it becomes like ridiculous, right? If we've gone 6 times and they've managed to survive like every single.
They've got to have the best death out there. That's if
Yeah,
they're
they
gonna do
either
it, they're
have to
gonna.
they have to make them go out in a blaze of glory if they're going to do it. But like, does it like stretch? Does it like stretch credibility if they keep surviving like over and
Mhm.
over again? And like, I mean, that's the only reason I think they killed off David Arquette, because they were like, okay, we have to get rid of one of them, so like, so
Yeah.
it's not, so it doesn't seem like ridiculous that they're still going. And like, we've talked about before when we did the anniversary episode, when we were like, oh, who out of the three, who would we rather see go if they had to go? And we all quickly were like, David Arquette. And not that we don't like him in those
Yeah.
movies, just like, you don't want to see, like, you grew up with Sydney, like, she's been like the final girl of these movies since the beginning, and like to an extent, so as
Mhm.
like Courtney Cox, like, that their relationship in the movies has like evolved over time as well. You don't really want to see him go, but like it has to be like realistic too. Like Sydney has to
At some point,
eventually
you got to.
she has to end up on the wrong side of the knife eventually, right? Like, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
yeah, I'm glad we're getting another one, just because I thought the last one was really good. And
Mhm.
I love the guys that did this. I mean, I don't know if you saw Ready or Not. They directed that movie. It's about like basically this girl is marrying to this family, and like on the day that she's marrying her husband, like the family basically plays this game of like hide and seek, and like they try to kill her. And if she survives, that means that she's a part of the family. So there's a lot of like humor in it that
Mhm.
like that is very reminiscent of Scream. So you could tell that those guys are like the right people to do it. Um,
Yeah.
so like, I'm confident
Sounds
that,
interesting.
yeah, I'm confident it'll do well. So the last thing of news I want to kind of, there's a twofer. Um, Euphoria got renewed for a third season, which is great. Um,
Mhm.
but Euphoria, in the last few weeks, I guess all of season 2, like viewership is up 100% from season 1. And
That's crazy.
each episode has grown in viewers each week. Um, that has also made it the target of like a lot of people who don't like the subject matter. Dare was one of them. Dare came
Mhm.
out and basically said like, oh, this show like glamorizes drug use, violence, and sex, and that basically said that they would love to be invited on as consultants to properly tell a story about drug addiction and like all that other stuff. My issue
Wow.
is like, if you watch the show, I don't think, no one on that show is happy, and no one on that show is like having a good time. So I really don't think it does glamorize any of that stuff. In fact, I think it is a big cautionary tale on, this is how I don't want my life to be this way. But Dare
Yeah.
seems to think
I
that
mean, it's
young
just like
people,
saying Breaking Bad is
yeah. But I think the issue
so.
is that it's aimed at. So Zendaya always says the show is not aimed at teenagers, but like we do know that a lot of young people watch Euphoria. It's like the youngest skewing show on HBO.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think it is made
Mhm.
necessarily for them. Even though it is a show involving like kids who are in high school, I think it is made for mature adults. Um,
Mhm.
the complaint is that, since it involves teenagers doing drugs and having sex, and it's really violent, and uh, they think that the show should have more responsibility uh, with its audience to maybe not show all that stuff. But like I said, I mean, I
I
hate,
disagree.
yeah, I disagree too, and I hate when this kind of happens, because I don't think you give enough credit to like people who are watching it. Yeah, there might be a pocket of people that see that show and like maybe want to do that, but I think majority of people who are watching it are
Mhm.
not being like, I want to do that. That looks cool. And I think it kind of like is insulting
Yeah.
to their intelligence, kind of say that they can't handle it if they were to see it. I just
It's not the
personally
responsibility of the show to do that. I mean, if viewers are upset about that, then they should go watch a PBS after school special. I mean, it's literally, it all comes back to like, all right, well, if you don't want them to watch it, don't let your kids watch it. Like there's literally no reason for a show to have the
censor itself
authority and the responsibility to teach. It's a show that's about a horrible situation in high school that involves drug use.
Right. Yep.
It was not what happens.
Yeah. Like, and, Euphoria did not invent drug use, by the way. So, it's very much been around forever. And that's not going to change. And that show's not going to, having the show, and I'm all about like artistic freedom, and I wouldn't want to see a show try to censor itself to like please Dare or any other group, basically. Yeah. That being said, the last 2 episodes have been crazy. I'm not going to go into it, but I feel like I feel like Zendaya is just like giving me more Emmys now. Like she killed it the episode before last. I was just like, I'm just blown away by. I mean, I know you feel the way you feel about her, but she was so good. Just so good in the last episode they did. So now that we're done talking about the news, we're going to introduce again back for the second time, and you'll officially be on twice this week because our Valentine's Day episode came out today.
Yeah.
And now Jenny's back to talk about football.
Back to talk about football.
You can tell with the cat in front of me who I was rooting for yesterday.
Oh yeah. So do they come like? Are they like your second choice if you can't have Cleveland?
No, I actually hate the Bengals, but I have to pick Ohio over everyone. Being from Cleveland, I'm a Who Day for one day.
Yeah. So what was interesting, like really quick, I didn't know that there were so many Bengals fans in Hermosa Beach. I was like, did they just come out yesterday?
No, because everyone from Ohio leaves Ohio because who wants to be there?
Oh,
and I can say that because I'm from there.
And now they're all here. Oh,
and now
God.
they're all here.
Their emotions were running high, like at the place I was at yesterday. Yeah, it was at Tower and Junkie. They were just I felt bad because like this one guy, he was young. He was young. I think he was like at least he was 21. We started crying.
Oh.
And I've always I've seen my friends cry over sports, and I'm always like I can't understand it. Where I'm like, oh, like you don't even know them, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's like your team. It's you are like born and raised on.
Yeah.
So since the Super Bowl was yesterday, it made sense to like kind of talk about some of our favorite football movies. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna make this quick because it's actually Valentine's Day today, and these two got places to go. But yeah, I mean, I picked 3 that I enjoy a lot. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask too, because out of every type of sports movie, the football movie is probably my favorite of the. Yeah. And I know people talk about baseball because Bull Durham and Field of Dreams, and but I don't know. There's something about football movies, even though I've never played football. I don't have a team. Mm-hmm. I still enjoy them though. I don't know what it is, but I do. They
think the thing about football movies for sure. The thing about football movies is that with baseball, it's a lot of individualistic type of movie. It's about one person. For football, it's about the whole team, camaraderie, competition, the coach who might have had a hard time but needs to bring all these different types of people together, and then winning just as a group.
I mean, for me, it's nostalgia. I grew up in small town Ohio. And so, I grew up Friday nights going to football, high school football games, Saturday night going to college football games, Sunday night, my parents had tickets to the Browns. And so for me, it's just that family, feel good, fun. And it brings me back to being a little girl with the stupid little pom-pom in the stand, and it just feel good. Yes.
All right, Jenny, since ladies are first, I want to know, what are your go-to, if you have to pick 2 or 3 football movies?
I mean, cliche, Remember the Titans, always. I mean, beyond the fact that it's just a good story, it's a feel-good story. I used to be a history teacher, so I love the history that comes with that movie. And then Blindside, again, just a feel-good movie. You leave feeling happy. If I want to cry, Friday Night Lights, the movie, not the TV show.
Oh, you don't like the TV show?
I prefer the movie. I will be honest though, I've only seen an episode or 2 of the TV show.
Yeah, you know what? I think I prefer, God, it's hard because Friday Night Lights is a good show. Wow, I'm gonna have to think on that one. uh, but yeah, I really enjoyed Friday Night Lights too as well. And you're right, it is a highly emotional one for sure.
It's like a roller coaster. At every given moment, you're like happy and then you're sad and then you're like, they're gonna win, and then you cry.
Right. And then like with The Blind Side, well, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Is The Blind Side, do you like the whole like family part of it more than like, because I feel like it's more like a family film more than a football film, but I know football is like very much a part of it, but like which aspect of the movie do you like the most?
It's hard because if I didn't know the reality, like I was saying,
Yeah.
and Michael Orton, and he very much hates the film. And so if I didn't know about those interviews, I would say the family aspect and, like the chance that he's given that not everybody has the opportunity for, and the generosity of the family. But then hearing those interviews, it sounds very skewed, and that takes it away from me. Like when I watch the movie, it doesn't quite feel as good knowing that and I don't know if it's that he doesn't necessarily like the movies or he thinks it was portrayed inaccurately.
I think he did point out there's several, more than several things in the movie that either didn't happen or like were exaggerated. I do think it's interesting that he did promote the movie. Like he went to the premiere, like he was involved a lot in that. I was surprised when he did say what he said about it though. And it was after it came out that he said those things.
Right. And based on a true story means obviously there's going to be some dramatization.
Mm-hmm.
I say that. Let me try that again. So playlist can edit it the right way. Sorry, playlist. But like obviously there's going to be some dramatization of what actually happened. It's a film. They need to get people invested. And so looking back, I don't know if his frustration is with the idea of this like white savior complex of this white wealthy family comes in and saves me.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it, but I think that is like some of the issue with that people take.
They also kind of portray him as being just a dumb kid.
And I guess he wasn't. Like he said that he wasn't
just,
like
no, he was a smart guy, and they were like, "Oh, he's dumb, and all he is a big dude who could play football."
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That's not really kind of what happened.
But you would think if he was promoting the films, he would have gone and watched them and pointed out the things that he felt didn't accurately portray it. And I would be interested to know what his feelings are on his actual, like the real life Sandra Bullock character. I'd be interested if he is frustrated now that he's older and he looks back on the situation, if he thinks that it was that white savior complex or just the way it was portrayed in the movie, like real life versus the movie version.
I think he's just pissed because it wasn't actually Sandra Bullock. And he just wishes Sandra Bullock
wishes Sandra Bullock saved his life. Yeah, I'd be curious to know if he is still how connected he is with that family still. I haven't really ever heard much about it since the movie came out. What his relationship is like with him now. But it is, even if it is kind of dramatized a bit, like there is this whole like inspirational aspect to that movie that you can't really ignore, right? It's like, so it still makes you feel good. And it's cool to see him succeed, even if it wasn't 100% accurate.
Totally.
Owen, what's your favorite?
Well, I'm gonna go with two. I know you guys will probably make fun of me for sure, but I'm gonna go with The Longest Yard, Adam Sandler version, and Leatherheads. I'm gonna go with two comedies, baby. Let's go.
That combo of Ellie and Adam
Sandler. That's really saying something for Owen because he really is not an Adam Sandler fan.
I take my
like Big Daddy, yeah. We talked about this on the last
episode.
No, that movie.
Just go watch it without him. We don't need him.
No, I like
Nelly and Adam Sandler.
I just think it's great, man. It's great. They're just laugh along movies that you can kind of watch at any time. And Chris Rock is in it, man. Like it's awesome.
In a football movie?
Yeah, he's in Longest Yard.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Kevin Hart.
No, definitely not Kevin Hart.
I was like,
the very definition.
Sorry, Kevin Hart.
Short and black. It must be Kevin Hart.
I was like, how did they portray him as a football player?
Yeah, that would never.
It wasn't him.
No,
he was short and black. I'll be honest, I haven't seen that movie since it came out. So I don't really remember much about it. I do remember like enjoying it at the time when I saw it. Like it is what it is. Like Adam Sandler's like really hit or miss for me. And I remember that one being like kind of like a hit. Like it was like kind of liked it.
No, it was funny.
Good choice. Okay, fine. I'll embarrass you with one of my choices because I always pick this one. I love Varsity Blues, even though it's more of a teen. It's probably more of a teen film. probably more of a team film than a
Vanderbeek,
football
baby.
movie, but I think it's good, and I think and I know like it's not 100% accurate either, but like from what I've seen like documentaries and stuff about high school football in Texas, they are super
Mhm.
passionate about it, and
Yeah,
Oh, it
it's
is
like
intense.
do or die.
yeah,
It's
it's like
intense.
church for them, and like
Yeah.
so when I watched that movie and see like all the pressure that their parents put on them, I was like, how accurate is that? But then apparently it's a
Very.
fairly
Yeah.
accurate, like football is life for them.
Yeah.
I also like Friday Night Lights. That's one of my favorite football movies, and then I'm gonna give it up to Any Given Sunday as well.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love one. I love any
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna throw a TV show in the ring here. Do we think this is a football movie? Blue Mountain State.
Oh yes.
We watched it. We watched it together. Yeah.
I haven't heard the name Blue Mountain State in so long.
Like, is
Yeah.
that a football movie or is that like a
It's-
frat house
okay,
comedy,
there is-
college coming of age
Both totally.
show?
Like, there's football in it.
Both totally. Because Blue Mountain State actual movie was god awful garbage. It was so bad, the movie. But the show is just basically, I mean, I remember I watched an episode when I was in high school and I was like, I cannot wait to go to college.
Like,
Let's
this is what
go.
college is like.
This is exact, and it's not at all what college is like.
Yeah.
But it's like it's such a great just fun
Yeah.
stoner raunchy that you are 18 years or older. Please enjoy.
I
Yeah, I haven't.
feel like it fits into the whole like.
Dumb frat comedy thing.
Go ahead, G.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it fits into the whole frat comedy. Do an episode on Greek life. I was in a sorority. He was in a fraternity. At two schools that are very well known for Greek life, and so I think it'd be
Yep.
fun to talk about how
I think we
accurate
have a
it
new
is, and
show
like the stereotype. I think we
Oh.
do.
She's about to be on her third episode in the future.
Just worming my way right on it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that name in so long. I had a friend that loved everything about that, and made me watch it. And like, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
That's a good.
And then like I also love Any Given Sunday too, because I appreciate any good Al Pacino monologue where he's yelling a lot. He yells a lot in Any Given Sunday.
Yep.
And also Cameron Diaz holds her own in like a shouting match several times with Al Pacino in that movie, and that was like early in her career, so I was like 99, so like she was still like not quite Cameron Diaz yet, but yeah, like she holds her own pretty well against him in that. And also just love Jamie Foxx as well. Jamie Foxx is the man.
I love it.
On
Yeah.
top of that.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, like, I don't think there's like any bad like football movie at all, really. But yeah, there's some good ones out there. Hold on one second.
Is your phone going off?
There's people talking. Yeah, but yeah, I think we all named some good ones. I'm gonna give Owen. I'll take the longest yard from you, even though I feel like it'd be like a little better, but like it's fine. I'll give you the longest yard.
Yeah.
Approved.
But yeah, this is fun. I mean, like Jenny, it's so weird to say that you were on last week because it came out today. But Jenny is on our episode that's out today, and she talks really well about romantic comedies. And she says she's not good at talking about movies, but I think she's doing a pretty good
Good job.
job. So
Oh, thanks, G.
So
It's
I
easy
think-
when I have my
think,
two
like,
favorite
when it's
guys.
in your
that
wheelhouse,
to
like-
chat
like-
about it.
yeah, when it's in your wheelhouse,
And
like
then-
I like the idea of like the whole frat comedy thing. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah, and what's fun about doing this is, I mean, for the listeners out there that don't know all of our context in our relationship, Gaius is one of my best friends, and obviously Owen's my guy. And so this is stuff that we really do talk about when we're out at the bar on a Saturday night, the shit together. So this is authentic, and it's easy for me to fall right into that with you
Yeah,
guys.
the only
Yeah.
difference is that we're doing it
That's
sober.
Oh, we
Yeah.
should change that for the frat episode.
Frat episode, we'll do a
We
shot.
all have beers with us.
Yeah, beer and fun. And we'll just see if we just gradually get drunk throughout the hour. How that goes. Oh yeah,
We
so
might
we're-
have to film that one on a Sunday.
right. So we're
That would be a good
gonna we're gonna wrap this one up, but next week, and I know Owen had narrowed it down to 2 movies. I don't know if he like chose which one he's gonna do yet, but next week will be Owen's deep dive episode into what every movie he chooses.
Yeah.
So I know he narrowed it down to two. I don't know if he wants to like say which two, but they were both really good.
Yeah. So I narrowed my choice down to Inception, but and the other one, which I'm actually going to choose as the movie that I'd like to cover, which is No Country for Old Men.
Yes.
So it's just one of my favorite movies, that one of the only ones that I've actually written a review on that is just in my iPhone app notes. It's not for
the beginning of his podcast career in those notes.
Public to read. Yeah, I think it's just one of the great movies that I love, about where the dialogue does all the talking, and that's one of my favorite things about it. Plus, Javier Bardem is deathly scary. So hopefully, you guys, when you listen to this, please give that a watch so that you can listen to our discussion about it and see whether or not you agree with what we had to say.
Yeah, I haven't watched that movie in a while either, so it's gonna be fun to like check that out this week and rewatch it and kind of get familiar with it again. Yeah, and then kind of see what you dive into with it, because I remember reading you sent me your like the review from like your phone.
Yeah,
you were really like detailed about like what you liked, and like
Mm-hmm.
but wrote it like this is just, I'm just a guy who just likes movies, and it's not really like more breaking down like like shots and like all that other stuff. It was just how you honestly felt while you were watching it. So I thought that was cool. So it'll be cool to see if your perspectives change on it all and how it evolves, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to watch it again and just kind of, every time I've watched it, it's been, I noticed something different that I enjoy. So can't wait to see it again and talk about it more.
Nice. Well, as usual, man, you get to sign us off.
Perfect. Yeah. As always, guys, we're a playlist original, and we're actually doing it a little earlier today. We did it at 5:00, so not got the total Monday scaries, and we're not completely dead at the end of our recording, but this is the best thing to do. I love having Jenny on and hearing her take on a few things. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed the rom-com episode. It was one of my favorites that I've recorded. So
yeah, everyone
give that a listen. It's definitely a good take on everything. And thank you guys for listening. We love doing this and can't wait to dive deeper into some even more specific topics. Every single week we come up with more things, and it's just, let us know what to talk about. We'd love to do it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. You will be back again.
You will see me in the future.
Yes.
All right. Peace out, guys.